Thank you, Senator Rounds. Senator King.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'm impressed by the upgrade in the chairmanship of this committee overnight. That's between you and me and not Senator Wicker. Mr. Obadal, one of the most difficult things is to transform the culture and the organization of a 200-year-old organization with a lot of inertia, if you will. And talk to me about how you plan to tackle that. It's more than just changing boxes on an organizational chart. We're talking about embedded culture. How do you make a change of the level that's necessary in order to ready the Army for the next conflict?
Well, Senator, thank you for the question, because it goes to the very root of the Army, which is culture. The Army is the service that is about human beings, and the machines are there to only ensure that our human beings are as effective as possible on the battlefield. When it comes to senior and executive level leadership, I believe there's really two paths or two tracks that you have to put attention to simultaneously. One are the technical aspects of management, and that is setting the course and resource management decisions that have to be made, setting milestones and clear objectives. And the other side is leadership, and that is a bit more difficult to define on paper. And so it takes senior leaders and subordinate leaders down to the very squad and team level to ensure that we are fostering the culture that the Secretary and the Chief set for our uniformed and civilian personnel. When it comes to changing that, I acknowledge that, as you said, it is incredibly difficult.
You want to change the culture, but not destroy the positive aspects of the culture.
Right. I think that you have to state what the values are of our Army, and those need to be not only reiterated so that soldiers understand them and civilians understand them, but leaders need to engage in their formations and have those discussions so there's something behind it.
Let's move for a minute to numbers and staff. Everyone in this committee is in favor of efficiency and spending our tax dollars as efficiently as possible, avoiding unnecessary expenditures. What bothers me about the approach that's being taken in the Pentagon and frankly in some other agencies is that it starts with a number and then works backward. In other words, 8% reduction or 15% reduction. To me, that almost guarantees a result that won't be optimal. It should start with how are we doing and where are the positions that we can consolidate or eliminate, not working toward an arbitrary number. Do you see what I'm saying? I hope that you will resist in the Army a mandate to say you've got to reduce by 8%. That's almost by definition not a rational way to approach the problem of increasing efficiency. You do that by analyzing the organization and the personnel and the jobs and the demands and the future demands. Talk to me about whether you're willing to simply say, okay, boss, if it's 8%, we're going to reduce it 8%, even though that may end up undermining the capability of the Army.
So, Senator, I believe that reduction drills or recapitalization drills, regardless of the number, are actually a healthy thing for an organization on a regular basis.
I don't disagree. It's a question of whether you start with an analysis of the organization or you start with an arbitrary number that will mandate changes that may not be optimal.
I believe that when you look at restructuring or recapitalizing, the first thing that should happen is you look at what are the requirements from the combatant commands on the service. Can we meet those combatant command requirements and do so in a timely manner? And I believe that's the foundation of what the Army should do.
I agree. I appreciate that answer. Mr. O'Keefe, I'm running out of time, but we had a tragedy in Maine several years ago with a shooting, 18 people killed. It turned out the fellow had been a trainer exposed to blast overpressure. There was a lot of work done at the time. I hope that you will commit to maintaining that work and to be sure that what was learned in those various reports that were made gets down to the troop level. so that it's not just a report on the shelf in the Pentagon, but it actually affects conduct, because this is, as you know, one of the most serious problems coming out of the Mideast wars is the effects of continuous exposure to blast overpressure.
Yes, Senator, you absolutely have my commitment. We, as you know, we did quite a lot of work on this in last year's NDAA. A lot of that legislation will take effect over the next year or so. If confirmed, I look forward to implementing that legislation and working with this committee. We're learning more and more about this area every day, it seems, and it's affecting more people than perhaps we first thought. So, absolutely, you have my commitment that this is a priority.
Well, you use the magic word, implementation. One of my mottos of life is implementation can be as important as vision. We can have a good bill coming out of here. If it's not implemented adequately, it's not going to save lives. So I accept your commitment and look forward to working with you on that. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Senator King, and I appreciate your support.